So you want to talk about dragons? I've got you. So in this video, I'm just going to give a really quick rundown of a few dragon books or books with dragons. I just watched How to Train Your Dragon, and while I'm not usually too excited about live action, this one I actually was, and I watched the movie. It was great. So here's a quick rundown of some that I've read, some that I'm in the middle of, and some that I have not read but I've heard good things about, and then a few that I have not read myself but it's on my TBR. Best dragon book I've read in the past few weeks has been by far FireBorne. It is, how do I describe FireBorne without spoiling it too much? I would say vibe-wise, it was the closest to How to Train Your Dragon. Like, they're dragon riders. There's a love story kind of going on. That's not the primary part, but just the world, because this is what I found the most interesting, is inspired by the Russian Revolution. So imagine Russian Revolution with dragons, but it takes place, I think, 10 years after the revolution. So it's really interesting from like some of the political discussions that they have, because it's how to cope with atrocities, new government structure, and also the sins of your ancestors and your family, and how do you play into it. So it's really good. I recommend it for sure. Like, I mean, one, dragons, but dragons meet dragons meet I don't know, what do they call it after the Russian Revolution? The period right after the Russian Revolution, but you can see like this kind of like the reconstruction of the state. You also see this dilemma of a meritocracy versus bloodlines and birthright, and so it's also like a flawed meritocracy, and it's the political discussion within this was a big highlight for me. And dragons, you get some nice dragon fights, and yeah, I think it's a series. I haven't read the full series. I'm going to, but I've only read the first book, and so that one is my top recommendation for a dragon book, at the moment at least. I've also read The Ruin of Kings, and this one kind of gave off Brandon Sanderson vibes, like Stormlight Archives a bit, but you also have, so it is high fantasy, and you have main character, he's a teenager. I think he's like 15, I want to say. There's also like dragons, but that's what's more traditional with like the big dragon versus ones that are able to be ridden, right? So and they kind of take more on that. The dragon isn't the main part of the story, but they're still dragons, so yeah, that's fun. It's a long one. It's a long book, so I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook is it's really well produced. Something that's really interesting about this story, which I don't think is a spoiler, it's more about the structure, is that you have footnotes as well. The timeline gets a little confusing at times. It's still entertaining. I still liked it. I do recommend the audiobook. It's very well produced. The next two books that I've read recently, people recommended these to me as dragon books, and they are not. Still good. I still really enjoyed them. Still read them in the month of June or July, but not dragon books. So the first one is Starling House. Really good book. There is like a monster of some kind. Nothing indicates that it's a dragon, so I'm not going to count that as a dragon book. Maybe I'll talk more about that one individually later, but it's not really a dragon book. You can correct me. Also listen to audiobook, also very good audiobook. Where was I? Uprooted. So Uprooted, also not a dragon book, really good. I'll maybe talk about that later. But there is a character that's called the dragon, but he's not a dragon. That's just his wizard name. No, I wouldn't say that counts. So then I'm currently reading two books right now that are dragon related. Haven't finished yet. One is Priory of the Orange Tree. So far, phenomenal. I've also heard good things about it. It's basically about this queen, or at least so far. Queen Sabran is unmarried. She's supposed to conceive a daughter to like continue the realm, and it talks a lot about like in their world. It's, I think also high fantasy. So far, I'm enjoying it. It also follows Tane, I think that's how you say her name. and she's a dragon rider, and so right now I get to see some of the trials that she's going through. The audiobook, at first it took me a little while to get used to it, but now I'm really enjoying it. But if you go to the bookstore, you'll see it's the one it's big. And then the other one that I'm currently reading is Phoenix Extravagant, and that one is really cool. It kind of has this like steampunk, at least in the cover, the dragon is metal. And so I'm curious about how that is. It's very different than the fantasy vibes that I've previously been reading. So it's a fantasy Korea under Japanese occupation world, and there's apparently some like magic, a little steampunky technology vibes. And then the main character is non-binary, and so throughout you're reading their perspective, and I don't know actually, because I haven't gotten that far into it, if they fully identify as non-binary or if they just use they them pronouns, but still cool representation here and also a cool setting. And then The Color of Dragons is one that I have read, and I know I've read it, but I don't remember much about it. And so then for the TBR, so we're going to do for the TBR just a rapid fire. Some of the other books that I heard had dragons in them. Yeah, cool. So of Jade and Dragons, right there in the name. The Bone Ship I've also heard of, and this is I think where dragons have left the world, but extinct or whatever, and then one appears. And then I think people hunt it. I don't know, that's just, I should have the synopsis here in front of me. That'd be a good booktuber thing to do. I don't. It's late and I just wanted to film. So Together We Burn is another one, and that one I think takes place in Spain, and it's I was planning to hold on to that book until I go to Spain. Don't know if I will because it's July and it's hot, so we'll see. And then I actually have this book, The Grace of Kings. There's a dragon right on the cover, so I hope there's dragons. And I've been meaning to read it for a while, so this is on my TBR. There's a few classics that everyone knows, right? So you have A Song of Ice and Fire, right? Game of Thrones. I actually have read it. I read the first one. Apparently How to Train Your Dragon actually is a book series. I never knew that. It's a children's book series, but I mean, it was adapted to one of my favorite animated films, animated series, and actually the live action was really good. I liked it. You have Aragon, right? I've listened to the audiobook a long time ago, like when I was growing up, I think on a long road trip, but I haven't actually read the rest of the series, and I might do that. And then of course, I know we've all been waiting for it, Fourth Wing. It's been on my TBR. I know, I haven't read it. A lot of it's been spoiled for me, but I still want to read it, but it feels like it should be a bigger thing at this point because I've waited so long, and everyone and their mom is telling me to read this series, so maybe I will pretty soon. If you have some other dragon recommendations, please put them down in the comments. I'd love to read more. Been really on a dragon ride. Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you have any other recommendations, happy to take them for sure. Put them down in the comments. Any and all dragon books that you really liked, or if you have opinions on some of the ones on my TBR, if you recommend them, just say, hey, skip it, you don't have to read it. I mean, I know it's really quick, rapid fire. I didn't want to drag on this conversation. Anyway, I think I have to sign off. It's late, it's 12:30, so